Hi, I'm Ben Salisbury. I'm excited to share a recording of a webinar I did in 2021. It's one of my favorite webinars I've ever done on one of my favorite topics, and it's all about email marketing and the use of newsletters. Are newsletters still valuable for wineries and craft distilleries? Are you sending them out because you just don't know what else to do from an email marketing standpoint? This webinar is designed to blow up all of the conventional thinking and wisdom around sending out newsletters. Newsletters are a relic from the past, and if you want to know more about this topic and what you should be doing instead, stay tuned. This is a value-packed webinar. You're going to want to make sure you watch it all the way to the end, and I look forward to any questions you have. So without further ado, let's jump in. I'm very excited to bring you this webinar along with my team. If you don't know me, I'm Ben Salisbury. The Salisbury Creative Group just celebrated a 7-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago, so we've been doing this for a while now. I'm a longtime industry veteran, joined by my team. We tackle a wide range of expertise, mostly around tech for sales. That's kind of our expertise, everything from CRM to digital advertising, to straight up sales consulting, etc. So welcome everyone. We got the whole team here today to support the event. So you are welcome to ask questions as we go along. We will have time at the end. We're saving time at the end for Q&A, and we'll stay here as long as there are questions. But you don't have to wait to the end if you want to pop a question in either the chat box or the Q&A. We'll be keeping an eye out for that. So let's test out this chat box again. Tell us in the chat, do you ever think about what else you could be doing with email besides monthly newsletters, wine club pickup emails, and email offers to purchase? It seems like a dumb question because that's why you signed up, but I just want to test out the chat, see how you're feeling about this topic. I imagine some of the people listening live and watching the recording are pretty skeptical because this is pretty much what the industry does and everybody's doing it, you know. All of the above. Hi, Rebecca. Yes, great. Thank you for playing along in the chat. And can you relate to this? You don't have to put anything in the chat, but just can you relate to this? You know, why do people sign up for our newsletter if they weren't going to read it? I mean, that's always a real head scratcher, right? My open rates really aren't that bad. I don't know if you study this, but you know, in the email marketing world, it's considered pretty decent to have a 15% open rate. But so I think that lulls us into thinking we're more successful with it than we are. And for a lot of people, they feel that competitive pressure. As long as our neighbors are doing this, we're going to do it too. So maybe you can relate to that. And does this sound like you? I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping that's why you signed up. That you would be open to new ideas about how to use email, but you may or may not be familiar with where to start. So that's what we're doing today. And here's what you're going to learn today. Number one, the best time for newsletters is in the past. I mean, you can still use yours, and I've got some best practices that you can use today. Hopefully that will help. But really, newsletters is a very antiquated way of using email. Given all the new data points and segmentation capabilities, there's so much more to it than just newsletters. So I'm going to share with you a lot of strategies that lead to higher conversions that go way beyond whatever you're doing with the newsletter. And we'll talk about what to do with that newsletter that you've already got and that you work so hard on. So these new strategies sneak peek into what we're going to be talking about here. You know, how and why to truly personalize emails. If you get nothing else out of today's talk, that really is the next level, is understanding how to make people feel like when they get that email from you that you're writing just to them. That is the modern way of using email marketing. You're going to learn how and why less is more. I mean, it just really is. It's so counterintuitive if all you've been doing is newsletters. But I've got some great examples I want to show you that will help you lock this into your brain. How to leverage automation. Absolutely the key to going to that next level. How to dramatically improve your open rates, and why being too consistent can hurt engagement. And again, we'll talk to about what to do with that current newsletter. So and a little bit of, that's our little bonus, what to do with it. We're not trying to tell you don't use it, just use it to the best advantage. So why in the world should you listen to us, right? Who died and left us the email kings and queens, right? Well, I like to just look to my own track record. At Salisbury Creative Group, I personally send out all of the broadcast emails to our clients. Now, our clients are wineries and distilleries. Your clients are probably consumers in most cases, but the principles are the same. I have a lifetime average open rate of just under 50%. It was at 50% for most of 2020. Every once in a while, it kind of creeps down, but it's still pretty impressive. Average click rate of 13% is much, much higher, 3-4 times higher than the industry average. And I have some examples of just some of the most recent emails from late April and May: 62%, 63%, 64%, 57%. So when it comes to using these skills at a high level, we absolutely know what we're talking about. Here's a good example. I mean, this is like something just recently that I sent out. The subject was a must read: the transformation of alcohol distribution. This is it. This is the entire email. No images, 3 simple lines spaced out for easy reading. This is a typical email that you're going to get from me if you're on my email list. Highly personalized, very short, one call to action. And as you can see below, smiling Joffrey, you should be smiling. 63% open rate, 44% click rate. That's what we're after. Now, even though my clients are, we're in a B2B context doing this, and you're mostly doing a direct to consumer, you can still achieve dramatically improved open rates by following some of the principles we're going to talk about today. And again, feel free to just chime in the chat if you have a question. Here's another. So this is like a particularly long email from me. This is about as lengthy as it gets, but the only time I would type this much is if I was really, really trying to make some compelling points, big news, powerful points. Please pay attention. But even with this lengthy diatribe, we still got 64% open rate and a 26% click-through rate. So this is doable. I also want to show you what we look at in terms of engagement. So here's one email subscriber that's been sent 31 emails in the last 5 months. They've opened every single one of them except for one. This is what we're after. We look at this very, very closely. This tells me that this subscriber is looking forward to my emails. They're wanting to receive them. They open them, they read them, and they do it consistently. This is doable. Now, do they all look like this? No, they don't all look like this, but this is what we're striving for. This is what we're aiming for. Well, what about somebody who just joined? Here's a very recent subscriber. They joined May 21st. They got 10 emails in the course of 8 days. That might seem like a lot, but if you look at what they came in on, they downloaded more than one lead magnet, so they're getting subscribed to several different sequences, but it doesn't matter. They're opening them all, and they wouldn't have opened them all. They would have unsubscribed if I was annoying them. So let's talk about newsletters. I really am down on newsletters. If you hear me speak or you've watched some of my videos or read blogs, this is the truth. But this is why. Okay, it's in my mind, it's very old school. It's not just my mind. I'm going to show you some other people's opinions. It's old school. It's really just a digital version of an outdated strategy, the old printed newsletter. And it feels like the right thing to do. And I think a lot of wineries and distilleries do it because they don't know what else to do with their email. And it's so easy just to prepare an email and send it out to everyone on your list. But this is 2021. This is a very old strategy for email. There's so many better things you could be doing. Also, I don't like emails, newsletters, because they're so self-focused. It's all about you, and it's not focused on the customer. And that's fixable, very, very fixable. And it will transform your conversion rates in terms of people who are subscribers to paying customers. And by design, a newsletter is not personalized. It's an electronic newspaper. It's a mini electronic newspaper. It's written to the masses. It's delivered to the masses. So these are the big issues I have with newsletters. A brief history here. Email marketing was born from direct marketing. Those of you are as old as me, remember, and you don't even have to be as old as me, but you would buy a mailing list and just send it to anyone you wanted. There were no spam laws. There was nothing illegal about sticking thousands of pieces of mail into the mailbox. Nothing illegal about it at all until email marketing came along and the spam laws came into effect. But with direct mail, there was no limits, and people used to do it a lot and spend a fortune on between the printing and the postage. People spend a fortune. And for those of you that remember these days, a 1 or 2% redemption rate or conversion rate was considered pretty good. Email marketing, email newsletters really aren't that far off from that if you're honest about it. And yet today, many businesses, many wineries and distilleries are still using email in the same way, just blasting away. And this is the spirit of it. Look at us, buy now. We know your time's precious, but we don't care. Here's our newsletter. Look how special we are. We're just going to keep hammering you with stuff until you buy. Now, I hope I'm not offending you, but really, this is what it feels like. And if you have an open rate of less than 20% for your email newsletter, this is why. It's just, newsletters are just dead, if you will. I found this article from Wine Business Monthly from 2005, which was 16 years ago. That was, Lance Armstrong was still very popular. Michael Jackson had just gotten arrested for, but anyway, look at this. You should read this article. I'm not going to go through it right now. You should pause this video when you get the replay and read through it. We're just 16 years ago, we're spending $3,000 to print 4,000 winery newsletters and then emailing them out. This newsletter mentality has been around for a long time. And that's why I say the best thing about newsletters is in the past. Their time is in the past. Was it a good idea then? I don't know. But it sure is a bad idea now. And don't take our word for it. I mean, you go ahead and Google company newsletters. Now, you're also going to find an equal number of people praising it because they're trying to sell some kind of email marketing software or whatever. But I love this quote here. 5 reasons no one is reading your email newsletter. There may be 7,000 reasons why your newsletter won't get the response you're looking for. Most of those reasons have the same common problem, though. Readers just don't like it. Is anyone brave enough to put in the chat what your average open rate is for your newsletter, even if you're not proud of it? I would love to get some validation that what I'm saying here is fairly true. And if not, that's okay too. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just going to pause for a few comments and questions. Thank you, Tom, for your honesty. 6%. Yeah, by nature. And, you don't have to look very far to get confirmation that a 15% open rate is pretty good. You should be proud of that. I think that letting go of that is really important. James says 30 to 35%. That's pretty impressive. That's awesome and rare. Great job, James. Any comments or thoughts from our panel?
Yeah, if you do have a newsletter and you find that your subscribers are opening it, that you have a high open rate, you're probably doing something right. And, I'm sitting here trying to think of exceptions, maybe with a very local audience, very highly targeted people who live in your town and they want to know what's going on week to week at the distillery tasting room or, whatever's going on. But as a general rule, this spray and pray sort of shotgun approach is just not going to hit.
Yeah, Denise says hers are between 20 and 28%, which is way better than the industry average. But and you should continue to send it to the people who want it. But I think there's a higher level to be reached. So let's get to that. The good news about newsletters and email is and it should be your number one way to sell. I'm a huge fan of email, absolutely huge fan of it. And email can be automated. So you can really scale this if it's done right. And your own, that should be typo there, your own email list, it can't be taken away from you. If you remember the early days of Google AdWords and even Facebook advertising, people sunk a lot of money into these things. And when the platforms changed or shifted gears, they lost all those, leads, all those contacts. Well, nobody can take your email list from you. It's your most important sales asset if it's wielded properly. So go ahead and keep your newsletter if you want to, but only send it to those who truly read it. And we're going to talk about this in a bit. It's what you do with email beyond your newsletter. That's where you can really impact your sales. Lee says his email open rate for his newsletter is 40%, but he still hates newsletters. Thanks, Lee. So back to marketing 101, which many of you on this webinar are familiar with. This is a typical customer journey. It takes 7, 8, 9 touch points before someone can buy. And yet, what do we do with the newsletter? We start selling stuff at the very first touch point. Email can be used very effectively and automatically to move people along this continuum. I love this quote, and this should be pasted above your desk if you're serious about improving your conversions, sales conversions with email. The sale should be merely a byproduct of a much larger relationship. If you have built a relationship first, then when you put an offer in front of someone, they have a much higher chance of them converting. You wouldn't ask someone to marry you on the very first date. And yet that's what you're doing when you're sending out in a newsletter, especially brand new subscribers. And I like to subscribe to winery newsletters because I like to see what people are doing. I will tell you this, the vast majority of them that I sign up for, I don't get a confirmation. I don't get a welcome email. I don't get boo until May. And sometimes later I'll get a newsletter. For others, I can tell that they've set up an automated series of emails, but it's the same thing. Buy something here, buy something 3 days later, buy something. So it's just really not the right attitude. But if you approach it where the sale is just a byproduct of a much larger relationship you're building, then you're going to do much better. So let's talk about how to do that. There's just so much more to it. And the 3 big keys, which is the balance of what I want to talk about today, are personalization. How do you do that? Automation, how and why, and then segmentation. Yes, it's a little bit more work, but this is the most competitive consumer product category on the planet. Even books and music don't compare to the complexity of the wine business. You cannot afford to just trust your future to your newsletter. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves and go that extra mile. So let's talk about how to do that. This is really big for me. I like to write to one person. When I open up a blank email template and I start writing, I'm writing to one person. Now, 34 people might get it, but I'm writing to that one person. I'm speaking in a tone and a manner that's me to you, one to one. That is the real power of email. How ironic is that? Because newsletters are a one-to-many approach of marketing, but that isn't the best modern use of email. Write to one person. Ask questions, ask for engagement. I sent out an email this morning to about half my list, the half that I thought would be interested in what I had to say. And in the body of the email, I said, I would love to know your opinion about this topic. And several people wrote back to me, and what they had to say was extremely important to me as a marketer. So getting some engagement by asking questions is huge. Only send content to those who want to receive it. That's segmentation. We're going to cover that. And only avoid being too predictable. People ask me all the time, well, how often should I send out my emails? I say, I can't tell you that. I think it's a mistake to do it every other week or once a week or once a month. You become too predictable. What I like to do is when I have something important to share, something of value to share, I spool it up and send it out to the people I think would be interested. So being a little more ad hoc, I realize that might make some of you very nervous, especially if you have corporate bosses and you're trying to put together marketing calendars, but being too predictable is actually hurting you. And for heaven's sakes, make your emails go on a diet. Avoid this too long, didn't read thing, which just gets worse by the day. I did a seminar earlier this week to a group of business people for the Kentucky Small Business Association. And I was telling them we were talking about websites and how to drive traffic to your website and convert it to sales. And I was telling them, you got about 10 seconds. You have about 10 seconds to make an impression and give somebody something of value, or they're gone. And your bounce rate will tell you that. So it's the same with your email. If they look at the email, they open it, they see a lot of words, boom, right into the trash. That's why the click-through rate is so much an important indicator than open, because are they actually reading it? So here's another good example of this. I have over 1,000 people on my email list, and I'm constantly lopping people off. So only the people who want to be on my email list are on it. That's part of the key to my high open rates. But this particular one went to only 76, very carefully chosen for this particular topic. In today's coaching call, the subject came up about how to prioritize better and manage your time better. I promise to send out a couple of resources for anyone who may be struggling with this. There's one, there's another. And so this is the beginning of click segmentation. 13 of the 74 clicked on the YouTube link that I sent, and 16 clicked on the other link, which was the Dropbox. And when they did, they picked up these appropriate tags. So when you niche down and you're talking to smaller groups based on interests, you have a much better engagement rate and a much better success rate. So let me throw this back to you. I mean, what would you say to someone who's been to the winery recently? Someone who already orders the same wine or the same whiskey. Maybe they live clear across the country, and it's just remarkable that they would even know about you or order wine from you. And if you have a small winery, this is the big dilemma. I mean, they're looking for every way they can. The playing field is level when it comes to direct to consumer. You don't have to be super big with big budgets to sell a lot of wine direct to consumer. And all the things we're talking about today are very key to that. But appreciating your clients and understanding about them. Maybe they only recently discovered this particular varietal or this particular region. You need to know that. You need to know that about your subscribers. Those who just joined your wine club, those who just joined your email list. These are two very, very special groups of people who need to have the red carpet rolled out to them. The good news is these last two can be automated. They need to be automated, and they need to be automated in a really professional way. So let's talk about that. Actually, let me just stop. Before I get into automation, any other thoughts or comments from the team? Or questions from the audience? Okay, forging ahead. So automation, there's a lot of misunderstanding about automation. Automation is to respond to inbound activities. It isn't to you could automate your monthly newsletter to go out on the 15th of every month and set it and forget it. That's not the kind of automation I'm talking about. I'm talking about inbound activity that automatically subscribes someone to a very carefully scripted and orchestrated sequence that packs a lot of value. Maybe they fill out a lead form on your website. Maybe they download a piece of content. Maybe they signed up for a webinar or interactive tasting. Any other kind of inbound action. When that happens, you need to have it set up in your email software as a trigger to fire off these emails. Now, I want to stop and say, for those of you who are using these all-in-one tech stacks for DTC, e-commerce, email marketing, a lot of those are great for sending out newsletters, reminding your club members to come pick up their wine, and other ad hoc offers, but they're not really good at some of these other things like automation and segmentation. Now, I know, Dan, you have more experience with those platforms than me. Any thoughts about some of the drawbacks of those all-in-one platforms?
Yeah, it's so with the newer platforms, it's kind of more of a pancake than a hierarchy, and you can just use tags for everything. And so you spend less time worrying about, how do I organize people into groups and segments and tags and all of these layers, when you could just be paying very granular attention daily to your audience. And is that kind of what you're getting at there?
Yeah, they don't. Well, the automations are the ones that I've seen are very lacking in the automation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Constant Contact's not my favorite as far as their automations go. You can, even within MailChimp, they have like an advanced automation setting that's going to show you more and let you play with the triggers more and the post-send actions more. So getting past that first layer of what MailChimp's going to present you at first is like a really easy user interface, but you can go deeper, certainly.
Well, and you have to have, thank you, Dan, you have to have this jab, 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 right hook mentality If you don't know what that is, go get this book. Highly recommend it for all email marketers, because most of what I observe is completely ignoring this idea that you have to give value, give value, give value, and then put some kind of offer. One of the wineries I signed up for an email list this week, a very impressive winery, a well-known winery. I immediately got a beautiful confirmation email welcoming me to the list. And I was so impressed because I don't see that a lot. You should see that every single time. And if you're on this webinar and you don't have that, you need to go set it up. People want that immediate confirmation with a little bit of a welcome. And in a second, I'm going to show you a template for the perfect welcome email. But 3 days later, I got another email. So I know they were using automation. Great job there. But it wasn't about me at all. They didn't ask me anything about my preferences, where I'm from, how often I buy. What a huge missed opportunity. Or they didn't give me anything of value. They just tried to tell me more about them. Let me tell you more about us. Let me tell you more about us. I mean, think of that in the dating world. You wouldn't get a third or fourth date if that's how you approached it. And yet wineries do that every day. So you really need to step back and think of a longer term approach, because automation is how you carefully and strategically move them through this sales funnel. It's very powerful. So for people to say, well, I don't have time to do all this stuff. Well, a lot of this stuff can be automated. Let me give you some examples. So here's one from my own website. We have little downloadable things, downloadable content, lead magnets all over the place. You can't move around our website very much without tripping over some kind of an offer. And our website is optimized for lead generation. But we're always giving stuff away. Just like this webinar, we just give away. It allows people to get to know us, to trust us, like us, and see that we have some expertise. You can do that too as a winery with your consumers. So when people fill out, so somebody wants to take my free on-demand masterclass, they give us their first name and email, which is a best practice, by the way. Those two fields are all you should ever be asking for at the top of the funnel. It's tempting to ask for last name, zip code, birthday. Get that stuff later. But watch what happens when they click. They automatically get subscribed. Now I use ConvertKit, so you're looking at the innards of my ConvertKit automated sequence. They get subscribed when they click, fill that box out. They're going to be subscribed to a 6-day email sequence with 5 emails, which looks pretty aggressive, and it is. But only the people who are starting at the top of this funnel are going to be getting this. But look at the open rates and the click rates. Yes, one unsubscriber, that's fine. I realize it's a little aggressive. You're going to lose a few people, but they were tire kickers anyway. I figured that. But then these fire off one day. This is a fairly aggressive cadence, but you get the idea. Here's another one. This is the first thing you see when you come to our website. We're offering this online course. It's 6 video lessons. It's totally free. All you do is give us your email address. And when you do, you get subscribed to a 4-day sequence with 3 emails. This is a lot less aggressive, but every one of these emails, look at the spirit of this. Thanks for registering. What can we help with the most? We're giving value, giving value, giving value. We're not selling anything. We're trying to, that will come later. And look at the open rates and click rates here. So I'm sharing real examples from our business. Obviously, it's going to be different for your winery and distillery. But what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the power of these automations. This works round the clock, whether I get out of bed or not. Automation is very powerful. And our team can tell you, we labor very hard over the creation of each of these emails. They're each designed to pull people naturally and elegantly through the funnel without being too salesy. They're very brief and they're packed with value. That is what we do.
Elegant's a great word for it. As sophisticated and granular as you can make this thing, paying attention to what are people clicking on, what tag am I going to assign them based on what they click on, and then what emails am I going to follow up with based on what they click on. That's the sort of stuff that's going to get you in the ballpark here pretty quick.
Yes, and you can watch the engagement as at each level of the sequence, and that tells you a lot. And we don't always get this right. Sometimes we completely misread and we lose people 2 or 3 emails in. And so you go back to the drawing board and you try to do better. But we've had a lot of practice at this. And when you practice too, you'll get better and better at it. But these automated sequences they're fantastic for nurturing new leads, and it's all done automatically. So let's talk about segmentation. There's so much more to segmentation. I won't waste your time by asking you to guess how many tags I have in my email software. I'll just tell you right now, it's like 111, more than 100 different tags. Now, why in the world would I want that many tags? I think the answer is, well, it depends how serious I am about sending the right content to the right people. Now, a lot of those tags were certain events, like somebody, like this webinar. Everyone on this webinar, you got a tag that said anti-newsletter. This way I can follow up with you and give you the link to the recording. And I'm only going to send a link to the recording of the people who registered. But I also know that you're interested in this topic. So you're going to get another tag, which is, email marketing. And so when I do future email marketing things, or I do a video or write a blog post, I'll let you know about it. So that's the tag for today's webinar is a temporary tag, but that's how I end up with a lot, but they're still very, very important to be able to trace back people's activity through the funnel. So you can never have too many tags. For those of you who are MailChimp users, MailChimp likes you to create different lists. Problem with that is you're going to get charged for everybody on the list. And if you have a user on more than one list, you're going to get charged twice. So tags are a much better way, much more efficient and cheaper way to manage all of these little things. This morning, I sent out an email. It was an article about why you shouldn't be paying for new distribution incentives. It only went to the people. It only went to wineries and distilleries. My email list is full of distributors, importers, people from the press, influencers. I didn't bother those people with this topic. I only bothered the people who I thought would have a serious interest in it. And the last time I looked, it was a 36% open rate, and dozens and dozens of people had clicked through to read the article. So tags allow me to do that very quickly and easily. Take the time to create these small segments and then use those small, highly segmented groups to create more personalized emails. I've got a few examples coming up. So this is part of how I niche it down. So when I first got on Clubhouse, I was really on fire for this. I'm very excited. The team was excited. And I wanted everyone to know that we just opened a new room on Clubhouse. So this is the rare exception. I'll announce this to a large chunk of my list. And even then, half of them opened it. Why? Because I haven't been abusing them by sending them stuff they don't want. So even if it's a real general announcement like this, I still have really high open rates because they figure, hey, maybe this is something we should look at. So 154 people clicked. Now that combines all the things, all the click segmentation in the email. So 27 clicked through to my website, 24 looked at my ConvertKit affiliate link, but 103 looked at the Clubhouse thing. And I don't know where I must have lost someone in there somewhere, but 102 people. So after this, I set up that tag. Automatically, they got 102 people got the tag. So from that day forward, anything I had to say about Clubhouse was only sent to that group of people. And look at the open rate, 72%. So you can do this too. It does take a little bit of studying and a little bit of understanding of how to use click segmentation and automation. So here's a good exercise. It's a take-home exercise for you. I want you to try this out. First, do a little research. I don't know, whatever software you're using that allows some kind of engagement report where you can see what people are interested in most. That will, and make a few notes. Those could be some potential tags. Look deeply at open up the individual user of some of your top subscribers and see what they are clicking on and what they're not clicking on. All these will inform ideas for creating segments. What are people interested in most? That's what you want to know. Now, many people have more than one interest. That's why you use tags, and you can really refine this. So test that out. Start creating a few new tags you don't already have. Assign that tag to a couple dozen people. Yes, you do it manually, but this is really, the saying, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. This is no time to be not thinking about rolling up your sleeves and taking extra steps. This stuff really works. It can transform your business. So don't get spooked off by how much extra work I'm suggesting you do. Make some notes about what people want. That's the whole spirit of this, of taking this email to the next level. And then create a broadcast. Pick one person to write to as if you're only writing to them. And I've got a good example of this coming right up. Keep your focus on them and what they want. Here's what this looks like, okay? A fictitious scenario of a winery who, after doing the exercise I just suggested, they created 2 new tags, one for their estate cab, people who consistently either purchased or clicked on it, something of interest for that, and they live in Connecticut. After I'm done assigning those 2 tags, I realize I have 34 people of my list who have both tags. So I pick one person and I think about her, Jacqueline. She lives in Connecticut. She's a fan of our estate cab. And my subject line is, thank you for being a great fan of our wines. No, actually, I could have said, thank you for being a fan of our estate cab. I'm not going to talk about the estate cab. I'm not going to talk about its oak regimen. I'm not going to talk about how my grandfather lost a finger plowing 2 generations. I'm not going to go into any of that because it's not about me. This is about Jacqueline. It's exciting to have enthusiasts like you order our estate Cabernet online, but to have them shipped all the way to Connecticut, that just blows our mind. This is just a quick note to say thank you. And if there's anything we can ever do to make your wine journey more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're totally serious. Just reply to one of our emails. This is going to 34 people. And you might say, well, I don't have time to write to each person individually. You don't have to. It's the way that you write. It's the style that you write that you're doing that. If this makes sense to you or you're having an aha, put something in the chat or just keep it to yourself, whatever. It's hard. This is the bad thing about webinars. You can't really tell what people are responding to. Wait a minute. This is, yeah, it's great, Ben. I'm glad you have all this free time, Ben, to do this kind of personalization. And, but we're busy. I'm wearing like 6 different hats. I want to just invite you to consider that we are in the most serious inning of this very serious ball game. We have twice as many wineries, domestic wineries in the country than we did just a few years ago. And this doesn't even count all the imports. This is what it's going to take. This is the extra mile. You can't just send out newsletters to 6,000 people and wonder why you're not selling more product. It's absolutely deadly serious. Here's some examples. Let's say you have 6,000 subscribers with a 15% open rate. That means you have 900 engaged fans. You think you have 6,000, but you don't. You have 900. And what percentage of your DTC revenue comes from the top 20% of your customers? You need to know that. And not only that, you need to know who they are. Because here's your options. You can keep hammering the 6,000 with all this stuff that's focused on you, and you're not building any kind of relationship. Or you can find more of those 20%, truly engage with them, and improve your conversion rate. So thanks for letting me get a little tough on you, but I don't buy it that this is too time consuming. Automate the stuff you can automate. Let the segmentation do the heavy lifting. So here's another take-home exercise for you. I want you to audit your inbound strategy. When I go to your website, is the only thing you've got to offer me is to sign up for your newsletter? You don't have any detailed trend reports or industry reports or something that I would be interested in. You all know better than me what your clients are interested in. But if signing up for your newsletter is the only option, that's going to be a handicap for you. Multiple places to sign up and give people the reason. Join our newsletter to be kept informed. I mean, that's not enough. You've got to articulate other reasons. It makes a huge difference in your conversions. And what are you doing for lead generation? Will I find lead magnets? I'll tell you, my favorite example of this is Kierpersol Winery in Texas, Kiepersole. Kierpersol. Go visit their website, look at resources. They do a beautiful, wonderful job of providing things of value in exchange for people's email address. Just a best-in-class example. On your website, in landing pages, in pop-ups, and then automation. So give yourself an audit. Do you have a killer welcome email for those who sign up? Do you make them feel special? You're speaking right to them using click segmentation, etc. So let me just take another quick pause here for comments from the panel or questions. Is this making sense? Go ahead.
I'll jump in. I having written many wine club newsletters over the year that nobody, including my own mother, didn't read. So that was a little disheartening. But it made me realize that, you may have some loyal customers, but odds are they don't like every single product that you produce. And so you need to drill in and find out, like within a wine club, are they a whites only or reds only? Or are they only interested in the Bordeaux varietals? Or with a distillery, if they're whiskey drinkers, odds are they're not whiskey, vodka, and gin drinkers. So maybe you can drill into those special items, and then it makes it that much more interesting when they get their emails. If I'm a whiskey drinker and I'm getting an email about gin, I'm not going to open it because I don't care and I'm not interested in that. But you can target them for the interest that they like, and some of that can be based on their purchase history, or as Ben mentioned, the automation. If they click on an email you sent them about whiskey, and they click on that, then tag them with whiskey. And now, going forward, they have an interest in whiskey because they've actually engaged in that in the past. So it just helps you target those loyal customers for what they're interested in your business for.
And these modern tools make it easy to do what Stacy just described. Yes, it's a little more work, but it pays off in the conversion. So the more niche down and detailed and segmented you can get, the more personalized you are in your correspondence, and the more you can automate things, you're going to see much better results from your email list. So here's as promised, here's my recipe for the perfect welcome email. First of all, when somebody joins your list for the first time, any list, whether it was in response to a lead magnet or just they signed up from your website, that is not the time to put an offer in front of them. You don't ask someone to marry you on the first date, and that's what that is. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it very sincere, and go ahead and use your winery's personality, your brand voice, but make them feel truly welcome in a unique way. The shorter, the better. They'll see it, they'll move on with their life, they'll stick around for your next email. Now, it's okay to show them around. We like to say, hey, check out our social pages. Maybe they're a big Instagram fan, didn't know you had an Instagram page, and they'll hop on over there. But be very, elegant about it. Here's a link to our website where you'll find all kind of interesting recipes and blah, 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 or cocktail recipes. Short, sweet, sincere, and automated. I don't have that on here, but it should be automated. If I sign up for your email list, I should get it immediately. Even better, make them confirm their email address so that they can get this welcome. You want the double opt-in as much as possible.
I would add something to this too, which is tailor your welcome email to the channel or the portal that this person came in on. Make sure you're delivering exactly what you promised. Where people come in on is very important, because if it's a campaign where I'm giving away a free ebook or something, that's what the welcome email is going to be about. And I'm going to get in there, say hello, and get out. You don't want to waste their time.
Great point. So what do you do with the current newsletter? First of all, have the courage to delete all the deadbeat subscribers. We use ConvertKit. ConvertKit makes it very easy to identify the unengaged subscribers. And what we do is we employ a process where we make a segment of them, and we send that group an email that says, do you still want to be on our email list? If so, you don't have to do anything. But if you'd like to take a break, click this button. And the beauty of that is they're not really unsubscribing. They're just getting a special tag, which we will then use to exclude them from all future, distributions of the email. And you can always invite them back later. So be proactive, take some courage, get rid of your deadbeat subscribers. Number 2, create a new tag called newsletter fans and keep updating that tag once a month. Assign it to the people who have, maybe you say, hey, everyone who's opened my newsletter in the last 5 months, I'm going to give them this tag, newsletter fans, or maybe 3 months. That's up to you. But this could make a really big difference. And it also allows you to start tailoring your content of the newsletter to the people. Because remember, you're going to be asking for feedback, and you're not going to be just speaking to the masses. You're going to try to personalize as much as you can. Trim the fat, limit the number of calls to action. 1 is ideal. Don't try to, there's this part of our brain that says, if I give them 6 different things and they pick one, great, I've won. Well, no, you really haven't, because you actually have less of an opportunity for them to click on something if you put 6 in. If you put 1 in, you'll get a lot more clicks. So make sure your newsletter is not too packed with calls to action. Strengthen your reasons to sign up on the website for your newsletter. I've seen some amazing newsletters, and I know some of you have a high open rate because you have amazing newsletters. So why not tout that on the website? Talk about what they're going to receive when they get your newsletter. How often will they get it? Why bother? That make sure, don't just have join our newsletter. I had a nickel for every time I saw that. Cut back on fields to describe. This is key. First name, email address. That's it. Watch your subscriber count go up. People they don't have time. They don't want to. You can get this birth date and the zip code later. In fact, here's an interesting hack. If you're running an ad or a certain campaign, you can create separate landing pages for the people. Like maybe you're running an ad in Texas and you're running another one in Illinois. You give them the tag Texas or Illinois yourself as they come in for that particular ad. But don't hurt yourself by asking for more information, and don't make them fill out a big form. That's not going to help you. Use double opt-in as often as you can. That's due to modern technology. That a lot of that is just a function of confirming your email address. You just one click and you're confirmed and you're good to go. Automate that welcome email for new subscribers. So we're kind of coming to the end here because I want to save time for Q&A. But I want to take a minute to talk about wine clubs. I consider wine club sales to be high ticket selling, very different than other types of selling you might do. Why high ticket? Because these are more expensive. It's a bigger commitment and more complex. They have choices to make, etc. So you really need a separate strategy for how you're going to convert your subscribers to wine club members. And we won't have time to get into this today, but I wanted you to see that this is a special category unto itself that requires a special strategy. Okay, so just to recap, here's what we've learned today. There's so much more to the use of email than newsletters, wine club pickups, and offers to purchase. Your open rates are your report card of how well you're personalizing, automating, and segmenting. Those are the keys to success: personalization, segmentation, automation. They all just happen to end in ION. Less really is more. Less is more. Resist the urge to do the more is more thing. People won't read it. You might have the best content in the world, but they're not going to read it if they see too much text. You need to be very serious about acquiring and nurturing those new email subscribers. You cannot have this just a casual, afterthought. And all of your extra efforts that we talked about today, they're going to pay huge dividends. You're going to sell more product, and you're going to keep your subscribers engaged longer. Any other thoughts from the panel on what we've talked about today?
I think when it comes to acquiring a high volume of email subscribers, that's where the more is more mindset really hurts you. You want to acquire as many as possible, but they're useless if you're not engaging them on this one-to-one level. And I see that a lot where people are really proud of their 8,000, 10,000 person email list, but they have horrible open rates or whatever. Really, it's just better to get rid of the people that aren't engaging with your content, because they're going to hurt you in the end, or they can anyway, filing spam reports or abuse complaints and stuff. It's just not worth it. Plus, you're probably paying more for those subscribers. So you could save yourself some money by just tossing them and bring in some fresh subscribers who are going to, have more purpose and intent to them.
Yes, excellent points.
Yeah, good point. You guys covered it all. It's hard for me to come up with something else.
Thank you, Phoebe. So really, today's training was just the tip of the iceberg, and there is a lot more to be learned on this topic. And if you're ready to get off the sideline and really jump into this game and get serious, we have some additional resources to avail you of. The first is our free masterclass. Now, I think in the audience, we may have some alumni from the Wine Sales Stimulator course. So if you are on this call and you've taken this complete course, I'd be very honored if you would just shout out a few words about your experience in the chat. For everyone else, we have what we covered today. Email is just part of a 5-part strategy that we teach. Now, our email for trade sales is pretty much geared to direct to trade, but all the principles apply for direct to consumer too. We have plenty of people who take this course, but I don't want you to make any kind of commitment. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I just want you to visit winesalesstimulator.com. Dan, can you pop that in the chat?
Yeah.
And I want to show you 2 of the modules that are in here. The module for email goes deep. Basic email selling strategies, advanced email selling strategies, creating landing pages that convert. This all goes deep into these topics. And there are 6 modules in all, 35 videos, about 13 total hours of instruction. You take it at your own pace. It keeps track of where you are. But on top of that is lead generation, list building. I get a lot of questions all the time from wineries and distilleries everywhere. How do I grow my email list in a high quality way? This course will show you how to do that. So, but I'm not asking you to buy the course. I'm asking you to go and check it out more thoroughly. Go to winesalesstimulator.com. I think we have a few people who have said a few things. So yeah, so Dane Chesson, you took the class. She said it's amazing. She learned so much. Thanks for sticking the links in the chat there. And thank you, Dane. If when you visit winesalesstimulator.com, you'll see other former students' endorsements of it. So check it out. It's free. This video is just about an hour. It kind of gives you a big overview of the whole thing. Well worth your time. So let's open it up for a Q&A. Would love to hear any and all questions that you have from the audience, or even just feedback. So Denise, who's taken this class before, she said she's running a lead gen ad at the moment, and they already have picked up around 15 new subscribers. So I'm sure that's just the start. New subscribers, nice work, Denise. New subscribers, bringing fresh subscribers into your email list is so important. When they're new, they're still excited. It's a great opportunity to engage with them and to nurture them. Don't scare them off by being too salesy in the beginning. I can't believe there's no questions. While you're thinking about a question, I will tell you one of the things I get is one of the questions I get frequently on this topic is, I see everyone doing these newsletters. I see every winery doing newsletters. I'm afraid if we don't do a newsletter, we're going to miss out on some big opportunity. I don't think anyone's asking you to do away with your newsletter. Just be cognizant that not everybody's reading it and that it is a little self-serving, but go ahead and have it. Just make sure it's only going to the people who want it. And the best way to grow the list of people who want it is to cover that on the front end. Give people reasons to sign up, show them what to expect, tell them what to expect, and then make them feel really welcome when they do. No questions? No questions at all? Okay. Either we've covered everything really thoroughly, or I don't know. I don't know why there's no questions. That's kind of rare.
We got one from Robin. Is it ever okay to send a sales only email every now and then?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But only to the people who've already gone through your nurturing sequence, and you keep it really, really short. Like I despise the offers that are, packed with 100 different ways to buy your product, and it's all very self-promoting. If it's too long, then people are just not going to read it. They're just not going to read it. That's the big stumbling block. Dan, you have a lot of expertise in this. What are your thoughts about what are some best practices of sending out offers, ad hoc offers?
Yeah, it's okay to make a hard sale. You want to take the jab, right hook approach, make sure your timing is nice, but also you want to make it as targeted as possible. So if I'm going to go and present wine to Olive Garden, I'm not going to show them my whole portfolio. Same deal when you're dealing with your own customers. If you've paid attention to what they're clicking on and whatever they appear to be reading, you can offer them something that's relevant out of your own portfolio. And I think that's going to have a much higher success rate. The other aspect of this is you can treat them like VIPs for being members of your mailing list. So the more special that you can make them feel and make them feel like they're getting a really cool deal from you, that's going to help. Having a compelling enough discount or offer, or shipping discounts are huge, if you're doing DTC. But our new wine release emails considered sales emails? No, kind of, but it's really, no, you have the advantage of it being really, really sneaky, and you're really kind of providing more of a service by announcing a new product that they might be excited about. So as much as you can put that spin on it and make it feel exciting and like you're just, it's all in good fun. It doesn't have to feel salesy at all. People are going to be stoked on it and buy it.
People respond well to exclusivity. So you let them know, hey, you're the first to hear about our new release. That's very compelling, more compelling than, you put it up on social media for the whole world to see before your email list hears about it. Like it's, people sign up for the email list to be in the know and to be some of the first people to hear about these things.
It's such a great point. But keep it really brief and don't try to oversell it. People don't like to be sold. A few lines about how exciting it is and what's special about it, and an opportunity to buy it. And to Stacy's point, saying before we go public with this news, we wanted to let you, our email subscribers, know about it first. Something like that makes them feel a little special.
And to keep it brief, you can also include a link to your website. If you have like tasting notes or something about that new product, you can by all means link them through to read more about it, but don't include your entire tasting notes on the email about this new release, because it's just, again, people's attention spans are gone, so they just won't read it anymore.
Yeah.
We have a question from Chris in the Q&A. He says, sorry, I didn't see the front end of this training. My segment of sales is to liquor stores through a large distributor, and I'm more or less separated from direct to consumer sales, e-sales. How would you suggest attracting liquor store owners or wine buyers? Well, you're probably going to hear from several of us on this, but I'll go first. There is no reason in the world why you can't maintain both a trade email list of those liquor store owners and consumer lists. In fact, you're going to get a lot more liquor stores carrying your product if you have a very large consumer list for that particular state. But this is something we specialize in, which is helping you attract trade buyers to your trade-only email list. So just a couple of really quick things. And I'm happy to point you, Chris, I've got your email address. I'll send you a few videos that you can watch that expand on this topic. But a few quick things. You need to have a place on your website for people to self-identify as a member of the trade. We have several really good examples of that to share with you. Also, you need to perhaps experiment with lead magnets, get people to want to sign up for your trade-only email list by offering something of value, a case study or a trend report or something really, compelling. Also, trade webinars where you're offering education to liquor store owners. Imagine if you did a seminar of how to bump up your gross profit by 1.5% by doing X, and they come to this webinar to learn how to do that, and you market it in that state with Facebook ads, highly targeted towards store owners liquor store owners, and there's ways to do that. You could totally do that. So I guess the bottom line, Chris, is grow your consumer list and grow your trade only list. And we've got some resources to send you for free. We'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, year-end reports are really nice to share with the trade too, coming out of Drizzly or Rabobank or all those guys and gals sending out the really nice detailed reports of consumer trends and stuff. Going after trade members is hard. It's a lot more difficult and a lot more expensive than consumers, but we do it, and we've gathered hundreds and thousands of trade leads. But there is a steep learning curve. I think that would be a good topic for one of these webinars.
Yes, and not to be too salesy, but in the Wine Sales Stimulator course, it'll show you from A to Z exactly how to do all that. But you don't have to plunk down money. We've got free resources to help you too. That's a great question. It's totally doable and worth it. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so we're kind of coming towards the end. Oh, we are. We're at the end of the hour. Any final questions before we sign off? I want to thank you all for your time. Thank you to my team for helping out and participating. I hope this was worthwhile. All of you who registered will get a link to the recording so you can go watch it again or share it with the rest of your team, whatever. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a great weekend. Hi, Ben Salisbury here again. I hope you enjoyed that webinar. Hope you took good notes, and I hope you walked away with a lot of really great ideas about how you can leverage email marketing in a more powerful way than just sending out newsletters. Now, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. I want to invite you to go deeper in your journey of how to sell more wine and spirits, especially digitally. So I want to invite you to check out our new online group coaching program called winesalesstimulator.com. I'll put the web address right here on the screen. Go check it out. I promise you will be glad you did, because I don't know of another place in the industry where you can go to access everything that you need to learn how to really accelerate your sales. So check it out, and by all means, let me know if you have any questions.